Alright, I'm going to talk briefly about ions. If you watch the video, the brief introduction to atoms, this should look familiar. This is my, my drawing of an atom where these green circles are neutrons, the blue circles are protons, and the red circles are electrons. Now sometimes when I draw electrons, I'll just do a little minus like that. Sometimes, but usually, I will do it that way. I'll do E with a minus. That's going to be my shorthand notation for electron, just so you know. Okay, so we have these 3 electrons. Each of them has a negative charge of -1. Okay, so electron is -1. Okay, and a proton, it has an electrical charge of +1. Okay, now if we just, I'm pretty sure common sense will tell you that if you have a +1 and a -1, then overall you have 0, right? And that's how it works with electricity. The protons, all together here in the nucleus, these protons have an electrical charge of +3. And these electrons, well, they're held in place by that attractive electric force. And since there are 3 electrons, altogether, altogether, this atom has a charge of +3 from the 3 protons and -3 from the 3 electrons. So overall, it has a charge of 0. And we say that it's neutral, that it's a neutral atom. It doesn't have a positive or a negative charge on it. It's just neutral. Now let's say that we were to get rid of one of these electrons, which you could do actually. Let's say one of these electrons were to go away. Well, now what's the charge? Well, it's pretty simple. You just do the math. Okay, 3 positives, 2 negatives. Well, it's +3 -2. The charge must be +1, right? And yeah, that's all it is. It's that simple. So that was when we lost an electron. Let's say we added an electron. We have this atom, everything's going normally, and we throw in another electron to the mix. Okay, now what's the charge? Well, let's say it's +3 in the middle, and then minus, now it's 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the overall charge is -1 for that atom. So it may seem very simple, but a lot of people will get confused with when something's negative and when something's positive, because if you add electrons, you decrease the charge because an electron is negative. So for instance, if I say, okay, I have a neutral atom and I just added 5 electrons to it, what's its charge? Well, you're thinking, okay, it's neutral, and then you added 5, so it must be +5. But no, you'd be wrong. Because remember, electrons have a charge of -1. And this happens all the time, and if I'm boring the hell out of you, I'm sorry. But everybody makes this mistake at least once. So if I say, okay, I have a neutral atom, and I just added 5 electrons, you got to think, okay, electrons are negative. They each have a charge of -1. So if you have 5 more of those, then you must have a charge of -5. Or I could say I have a neutral atom, and now I took away 5 electrons. So immediately you think, okay, you took away -5, so it must be -5. But no, because electrons are negative, if you take them away, then you would have a charge of +5, right? Because if you have 0, and then you take away -5, which is what you're doing if you take away electrons, then you end up with 5. So it may seem simple to some of you, but I guarantee you, if you don't think it through twice, it's going to cause problems. So I just wanted to go through that real quick, and now let's go into naming.